There are many indeed who are buried there. First of all, we know about Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba, then Imam Zain al-Abidin, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam were all buried there. In addition to Fatima bin Asad, to many others of the Sahaba there.
Al-Saud came to power in the Hijaz area, known today as Saudi Arabia, in the mid-18th century. The family of Saud were backed by the ideology known as Wahhabism, a movement which had denoted ultra-conservatism and social intolerance and inequalities. The Wahhabist cult imposed that the visitation of the graves and the shrines of the prophets, the imams, or any other holy saints was a form of idolatry and contradicted the teachings of Islam. Those who did not conform to such a belief system were consequently persecuted, killed, or had property and social status confiscated. In the year 1925, Medina surrendered to the Wahhabi order. All Islamic heritage sites were desecrated. Al-Baqi was razed to the ground with no recognition of any grave, tomb, or place memorial whatsoever. The Wahhabi movement had caused officials to even enter the city of Makkah and to destroy all other sacred heritage sites there, including the Jannatul Al-Mualla, a sacred local cemetery and the house in which the Holy Prophet Muhammad was born. The tombs of Hamza, the uncle of the Holy Prophet, and other martyrs whose lives were lost in the Battle of Uhud were also demolished. The only shrine that had remained intact was that of the Holy Prophet Muhammad in Medina. The Wahhabis carried out a merciless plunder and massacre to those who opposed their power-hungry movement. Civilians in their own streets were being countlessly killed. Women and children too were not spared. Houses were pillaged, and there was a disregard of peace and coexistence. Aggression, terror, and anguish had tormented the streets of the people.
There was not such a question at all in mind of any Muslim that this may be equivalent to shirk or anything close to that. Only after Abdul Wahhab, of course, came to power and they conquered Makkah and Medina, they started to destroy these places. As I said, this is counterintuitive. In no culture, in no nation, you ever have seen a people to do such disrespect to their noble history, to their noble people of the past history. In no culture you would see that people would pay no tributes to people who have passed away, even for soldiers who are unknown in battlefield. Usually we erect some sort of memorial to pay respect to them. So this is something quite new. This is a new interpretation of shirk. You don't see any Muslim scholar before Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. Of course, Ibn Taymiyyah was some sort of exception. You don't see any Muslim scholar, any exegete, any jurist, any muhaddith to object to such things. And they were going on, everyone respected that. So this is something quite new. And if paying respect to people like Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq by building a mausoleum on top of their graves is shirk, so why not about the Prophet, peace be upon him?
8th of Shawwal is a day that's commemorated by millions of Muslims around the world, for it marks the day of the destruction of the cemetery of Baqee. But people ask why? Why so much grief and emphasis and encouragement for the rebuilding of the cemetery, and why the visitation? Well, of course, this stems from the encouragement in Islamic teachings to keep the remembrance of those who sacrificed their lives for God high. And indeed, the Muslims, Sunnis and Shias, perform visitations to shrines in order, number one, to remember God and to worship God and God alone. No shirk or polytheism takes place in shrines such as ones of the Imams in Iraq or in Iran, or in Lebanon, or other parts of the world where, for example, the Shias go in their millions on an annual basis. But rather, it's the recitation of the Quran, it's supplication, it is seeking intercession, as is mentioned in the Quran, by supplicating to Allah using the names of the holy individuals. The Quran says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha wabtaghu ilayhi al-wasila. Seek a means of nearness to Him. And indeed, we find that in the city of Medina today, in the shrine of the Prophet, in Masjid al-Nabawi, a huge hadith of the Prophet that visible until today, that the Prophet himself says, Shafa'ati li ahli al-kaba'iri min ummati. I intercede for the members of my community, my ummah. And therefore, the concept of intercession, shafa'a and tawassul, both are very much established in Islamic teachings.
لأن المسجد إذا اشتمل على قبر عبد من عباد الله صرف عمره في عبادة الله، يكتسب المسجد الذي يبنى بجواره أو بما يشتمل عليه، يكتسب روحانية ويكتسب قربا إلى الله تبارك وتعالى، فيكون هذا المسجد أعظم بركة باعتبار أنه تضمن هذا الجثمان الطاهر.